Welcome everyone to League Zero. My name is Intel. I'm here with Duga, and we are casting for one of the first Novice games. First for One Trick Wonders and Wisdom Academy of the official season.
That is right. And this matchup here is going to be an intense one as we have two teams. Wisdom Academy, your champions from the Smiley's Invitational and One Trick Wonders, still have something to prove, but they're not off the block just yet. Here, it's going to be an intense matchup. One thing I'm looking forward to especially is Iggledy Bob versus that, whoever the...
Titanic.
Titanic, yeah, that's right. That's gonna be an intense one there. Exciting to see both these teams because they look pretty even across the board. One Trick Wonders, maybe we'll be able to see their famous comp from last season in Wisdom Academy. Maybe they can actually find an answer to that. Maybe they actually prepared for that. I don't know. I'm excited for that.
No, yeah. During the Invitational, which we got to see some of the teams except Seattle play and show their talents going into the game. One Trick Wonders ran their typical composition of the Orisa Sigma, Mercy Bat, and Bastion Far, which is really good for zoning out and forcing teams that are really bad to just not be able to touch one. But they mostly run that on 2CP, which I do think they'll most likely run. And then when we go to Titanic and Eagle, both of those DPSs are really good. It doesn't seem... We don't know if they'll be playing Eagle, but him and Thai are some of the debatably top-tier DPSs in the league. Thai with his Pharah, Ground Pharah, and Sombra, and Eagle, who's just been able to flex around with a lot of hit scans and flex hit DPSs.
Eagle is currently on main tank.
Eagle's popping off on main tank? Wow, this is gonna be interesting. I for a minute I thought the things just weren't switched around, but we might be seeing Eagle on the main tank.
This is something I wasn't expecting. I remember Eagle from Flux Cup, and he was actually pretty nasty in that tournament there. But I've never seen him play main tank, so this will be a sight to see here.
Yeah, I haven't either, and I mean, I doubt we'll be seeing him play Rhine. Maybe mostly his monkey must be goated if they're wanting to play him.
Yeah, it must be. Now, on the side of Wisdom Academy here, there has been a recent trade of Geek Ache with Hyperflex for Bob's there. Honestly, I don't question the trade here from Wisdom Academy. I imagine they have an incredible plan for what they want to do with Geek Ache, but apparently they were actually willing to give up 2 people for Geek Ache, from what I've heard.
No, yeah, they were supposedly Novino was willing to trade up both Nukmar and Bob's over to Hyperflex solely for Geek Ache. So they must be having a lot of confidence for this player, and definitely when going into the draft, Geek Ache was considered one of the top tier supports, and Wisdom were always gunning for them, so it makes sense that they would eventually snag what they wanted.
Yeah, I'm expecting some big stuff here from Geek Ache and basically everybody on the roster here. Everybody from both sides. It just absolutely looks insane here.
No, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're getting R from one of the teams, so we're just waiting for OTW to give it. And our first map is going to be Ilios. I personally think Wisdom are going to have the advantage. This is a map that is favored with Pharah players, so I definitely think we could see a lot of Pharah.
Yeah, I wonder what else they're going to pull out here if they're going to whip out the Pharah. Maybe they're probably going to whip out some kind of dive, I'd imagine here.
Yeah, because the meta's in a weird spot, correct? So, like, would you say dive is more viable for Ilios compared to, like, a brawl or...
Now, the meta here is actually really interesting because normally what's being played right now is the Sombra Reaper with a Moira Lucio, and then you're either running a Ryan Zarya or you're running a Winston Diva there. And it's basically kind of like a rush it down, but you're running with dive tank, so basically your entire team can get to a certain target and basically mow down their Winston there, and basically keep their Winston in check. That's what the Reaper's job is to do. But down here in Novice, I have no idea what to expect here. They could be whipping out some weird Ana Mercy kind of thing with a pocketed dash or with a Pharah. I got no idea.
We're getting the R, yeah, from Wisdom again. We're just waiting. But what do you think are like the the kind of winning compositions for Ilios specifically that these teams are going to want to try to play?
I know probably One Trick Wonders will probably whip out the Pharah, as they were most known for that, but I think Wisdom could also probably whip it out as well. Both, I think a Pharah is just going to be played here, and it's going to go down to basically their hit scans to see if they can shut it down. Now, I'll be surprised if a team does not run a Pharah here. It seems like a good strategy, and like especially for something of their level here. Yeah, and I honestly think that it'll probably whip out a dive as well. And even if they get their tanks to actually try and zone out a Pharah, I think like
Yeah.
that team's gonna win. Whoever can shut down that Pharah here.
Yeah, that's honestly true, and we're going to be getting the R. Now, in the Novice division, some teams do have a bit of trouble shutting down the Pharah. That I think that's why Pharah gets played a lot more compared to the other divisions.
Yeah, that's very true because I think Wisdom can handle it though. I think they have an excellent coaching staff that can actually train them to shut down the One Trick Wonder specific comp. I think we're gonna see something different from their coaching staff.
All right, now as we can see, yeah, look, they're wanting to run Eagle, but not on main tank. They're running off tank. They're running both off tank. This looks like a comp meta against a more dive composition. Now, who do you think has the advantage? Tell me.
I honestly think it's gonna be on the hands of Wisdom here because the double off tank just isn't that viable anymore. It's no matter. Oh, they're actually swapping to the Rhine here.
No, never. Yeah, we're gonna be
It's actually gonna be interesting to see. I'm excited. This is a dive versus a brawl here, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, this is. If I'm wrong, this is gonna be up to rotations and how they isolate the dives. They're gonna be meeting up close to the point. They're just seeing where each other are. They're slowly. It looks like Wisdom are wanting to rotate. They're getting ready for the dive, but OTW are perfectly just matching around. They're now starting into the fight. The hack going on to Eagle, going low. He's having to get some pressure off, but Zorth is going to have his mech gone. Bubble going down now. They're having to get Sponge. He's going to get Eagle, so now they're down their main tank. They're going to have to salvage this somehow, but Minimax is going to get Blue Jay, so now they have no tanks. All that's left is Tree trying to get anything, but he's kind of having trouble getting Geek Egg, and Geek Egg's eventually going to go down, but Spongy is going to get Tree, and Thigh is going to get Mellow, and that fight's immediately going to be going to Wisdom Academy. What went wrong for OTW there?
I honestly think it was that opening hack onto Eagle there. Because once that Rhine gets hacked, their Reaper can just immediately farm that Rhine and basically mow him down, and he cannot play the game. I think this dive comp from Wisdom is going to be superior to their Brawl just for that sole hack.
Yeah, we're going to be watching them kind of slowly go in. They're wanting to... Oh, no! Immediately Coalescence is going to be popped. They want to aggress on this. But Counter Coalescence is not going to be coming out. They're trying to just do it. Now enemy Coalescence is coming out. They're looking to get anything. A big EMP. That's a 6-man. They looking to finish this off. Titanic's going to get Eagle somehow, though. Tree's going to get Zord, and the counter EMP is coming out. The fight has switched. The Spongy's going to be able to get Tree, and Thigh's going to be able to get Mellow. And somehow Wisdom are going to be able to win that back, even though they had a 6-man EMP. They were 6-man EMP. They were low. What really happened there?
I think they got a 6-man EMP there, but the thing is their Rhine kind of went a little too aggressive there. Like they got a 6-man EMP and they assumed the fight was already won, which you can't be doing. If you assume the fight is won just because you get an EMP, you're gonna lose that 9 times out of 10. And Wisdom Academy said that this isn't over till it's over, and they were able to come back and win it with their EMP.
Yeah, we're gonna be beating on to the fight. They're building up some ults, but look at that, off the Goose immediately going down. He's not gonna be able to build an EMP mid-fight, so hopefully he can come back. Death Blossom coming out. He's gonna be grouped away, but he's still gonna be getting Eagle because he was split off. He had no healing due to the Winston bubble. Now they're going in. Tree is going to be picked off. He was looking to get that Winston, but he was just unable to. Blue Jay is now out of mag. We're going close to the 1-fight territory, and now they're staggering. Oh, the Blue Jay immediately getting his mech, and he's unmech'd again.
This is just BM here. This is not needed at all.
Yeah, they'll be able to just barely touch point, I think, but they have only 5 seconds and 3 ultimates. Look at that, they're committing the sound barrier just to get through. Shatter going out, it's going to cancel Red Panda's sound coalescence, and now the sound barrier coming out of Geek. They're going onto the fight. It's kind of a messy Death Blossom coming out, but it's going to be countered straight by the EMP. Spongy Chief's getting killed, but Tree's getting Red Panda. The EMP coming, no, the bomb coming out is going to get Mellow, and now the EMP coming out, only getting 3. And now Zorth is going to get Tree, and the fight's kind of going into a messy spot of the Monkey just trying to get the sound barrier. He's going to be able to, and all that's left is Blue Jay right on the point, but he's not going to be able to touch or do anything, and that point's going straight to Wisdom, and honestly, there was a lot of issues going on to OTW. What do you think is like the major kind of problem they had there?
I honestly think their composition is just inferior to that other one because the Ryan is so exposed if they get hacked. And whereas their Winston, they have a bubble. If they get hacked, they still got a team. He has so mobility. He's like, he still has his bubble there, you know? He can actually just weave in and out of it. But the Reinhardt, when he's hacked, he's hacked. He's got only a DM to help him, and maybe not even that. It also came down to the coordination there. It looked like Wisdom Academy just had the better coordination and actually used their ult proactively, something I actually didn't expect to see. And I'm really excited to see what more special things we can see coming out of Wisdom Academy here. But
yeah, now we're going into kind of a almost mirror. The main difference being here is the Ashe on OTW and the Reaper on Wisdom. And honestly, how does this change the fight going in?
Sorry.
Oh no, please continue.
I'm questioning the Reaper pick here because they don't have it. The only thing they can keep their fire in check is their Ana there, but I don't really understand the Reaper. I imagine it's to get their mow down their front line, but if they don't have a Lucio, I don't know how much value that Reaper's gonna get.
Giga gets punished while rezzing, and that fight's gonna immediately swing into OTW's favor because Blue Jay's just able to walk in. Titanic's gonna get 2, but he doesn't have any support besides Red Panda, and he's gonna have to pull off a miracle. But now Wisdom are going to Zerth almost gets booped off the map, but he's gonna be able to survive. Minimax is able to get Blue Jay, and Titanic is able to get an Eagle, and you give us a bit of an analysis of what happened there.
Honestly, I honestly have no idea. It looked like Wisdom Academy had that in their hands, and then somehow they just lost it. I mean, not Wisdom, but OTW. They had that in their hands. They were getting so many picks there. I guess they just failed to capitalize on this. I think they keep assuming that the fight is won there, and they can't be assuming that the fight is won. They got to play it out till it's over. And then Wisdom Academy with their famous "it ain't over till it's over."
Yeah, we're gonna be seeing Spongy switching straight onto the ad. Off the Goose is getting Red Panda. He does get the Nano off. That is going to be valuable to get a pick. They do get Phantom, the barrage coming out, not finding anyone. Now Zerth is using his bomb to kind of split them off. He's going to get Mellow and force them back to the spawn room.
That Nano was honestly probably a pretty big Nano because the Red Panda knew they were going to die, so he had to make a play there. So he didn't want to die with that ult, so he had to Nano the Winston, which pressured their Ana. And then I guess Off the Goose didn't really get a good angle for the barrage and try and get him away, so he kind of didn't get any value there either. So not only did they come away with a fight win, they also got the fire ult out of the way as well.
Titanic gets Mellow, but Tree's gonna get Geek Cake, and then in return, he's gonna get Tree. Titanic is known for his Vara, and they're honestly just giving him too much room and allowing him to just get so much value off of this.
This fight is over before it even begins here. Wisdom is just holding the spawn, and looks like we're actually going to see a swap here off of the Pharah. Something interesting here, and I wonder why they're swapping to a Doomfist of all things here.
I think they might want to play really aggressive, you know, ignore the Pharah, just run in, but ignoring the Pharah is not going to be the problem here. They're going to Nano going in, setting Bob across the map. He almost gets booped off, but he gets saved. Titanic's going to get 2 with the barrage, but in return, Tree's going to get something, and while they do get Geek Gate, they only have 2 people, no, 3 on point, and now Off the Goose is gone. That was their highest DPS output. Mellow's just trying to do anything to stall this out, but he's unable to get anything. Blue Jay going to get DMAX, and now the Moira is coming back on point. Mellow's being able to survive, but now he's going to go down, and Monkey now jumping on point. They're looking to stall this out as much as they can. Bob, I think, went out, but is gone now. And look at this, the team immediately going off, primaling Monkey, just looking to get anything. But they're going to be able to get Phantom, and now the bomb's coming out. It's going to be going in the air. It's not going to get anyone, but Titanic's going to get Tree because of it. And Goose is managing to get Spongy, but he's not going to be able to get anyone else because he's out of abilities. And when Doomfist is out of abilities, it's basically like playing a Sombra. You're practically useless. And now it's just them getting the stall picks, and they're going to get Mellow, and now they're looking to get Blue Jay. He's going to get DMAC'd, and now Phantom is going back onto the point, just trying to stall it out, but they're just able to get these picks, and what an amazing fight coming out of Wisdom as they are able to take map 1.
That was honestly an incredible job done by Wisdom there. They looked like professionals out there, and they made OTW look lost, and they really couldn't. They had nothing to do. Wisdom had nothing. Wisdom.
Honestly, it's a bit concerning. What do you think? What do OTW need to do to start putting up a chance? They look so confused into that fight.
honestly, it just comes down. They just don't look coordinated at all. Like it just comes down to the coordination. Like they're not using. They're kind of just throwing ults out there, and they're kind of looking like a six stack in your comp game. You know, they're not. They're just kind of there, and they're just like kind of like buddies, just kind of like doing like just there. You know. Um, honestly, it looked like their DPS really couldn't do much, though. I mean, the Fire and Mercy just kind of got shut down as soon as we saw the swap off the Reaper to the Ash, and then the 360 had a hard time pressuring that Pharah out of the sky, which means he just got to shoot right in the middle of that. He basically just ruled the skies there, and he had no pressure at all. So I think either tanks need to do a little bit much of a better job of making that space there and making that pressure enough so they don't 360 and off the goose can actually do their thing, or we need to actually see a switch up and maybe try and play around their DPS a little bit more, because right now it's looking like a massive diff from everybody there. I mean, also OTW when they're winning a fight, they constantly assume it's won, and then you just kind of like vibe, you know. And then but Wisdom Academy, again, they don't quit. They need to learn right now that Wisdom Academy will not stop because they're assuming every fight is winnable, and I don't think they've lost a single fight to the fight right now.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, they've always come back into a lost fight, and they've actually won it right then and there. So OTW needs to make sure they actually secure the fight win, and they need to do this by any means necessary. Otherwise, Wisdom will come back, and they will actually take the victory right out from under their feet there.
Yeah. Personally, I'm thinking one of the major issues of OTW is also they're running an Eagle who is naturally their DPS player, but he's on tank unless he signed up to play tank, and if he is, then he's really underperforming. He's not, I guess, doing the best that he could be doing, if that's the wording. Because when he goes into these fights, he's either put himself so far out that in the first fight on map 1, he gets hacked and then they immediately focus him down, or he's just not getting any picks and values, just walking into the enemy team, giving them ult charge.
I'm honestly seeing no coordination between Eagle and Blue Jay here. Eagle, I feel like if he moved to this, I feel like Eagle would. I don't understand the thought process behind putting Eagle on tank. Maybe he actually does play tank. I don't know, but they need to get their things together because they're looking incredibly uncoordinated. And that when it comes to coordination, it's on the main tank there. The main tank needs to keep everybody in check and make sure everybody's working on the same page, make sure their off tanks playing with them. But they're just looking like Wisdom's making them look like they just got together like yesterday, and they've had a whole entire invitational to play. And honestly, I'm not really seeing much from One Trick Wonders, but Wisdom Academy is just looking incredible right now.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be a little honest with you. All right, I predicted OTW to be winning this. All right, I had faith. I talked to Off the Goose in an interview and was asking him how he feels on his team and going into their next game, and he gave me a pretty convincing argument. But honestly, I almost wish I could kind of take back what I guessed, because I think Wisdom might be able to just convincingly 3-0 this. As the map is picked, we are going to be going on Volskaya, and Wisdom are going to be picking defense first. Now, what are the compositions we're most likely going to be seeing here?
I think One Trick's probably going to run out that on the dive again there. Maybe with the Reaper Sombra, because they look like they had it down on the ruins there, and I think they're just going to play that high tempo, the fast tempo dive there. But again, I think they're just going to stick to the dive though. I don't see their tanks playing anything other than Winston D.Va. Like, they're looking really good on that dive there. Their tanks are just on it, and their tanks are actually doing things, and they're actually able to play the game. Whereas Eagle and Blue Jay, they just look so lost when they get in there. They don't know what to do. And as far as the One Trick Wonders go, I have no idea what we're going to see. Like, we could be seeing a Reinhardt. I'm going to imagine they're going to probably run out on the Reinhardt. And if they're smart, they would run out on the, assuming that Wisdom's running the dive, they would probably run out on the Winston there to take advantage of the multiple high grounds there. But I don't really know, because we saw. Hopefully they learned their lesson on playing the Reinhardt there, and they're probably going to run out on the dive. I hope that they're going to learn and run the dive, and maybe we'll see them actually take a map or two.
Yeah, if I've learned anything from Overwatch competitive right now is that Reinhardt is just not the play at all. And we're going to get both R's from both teams as we're going in. Now, I kind of feel that OTW might run the Bastion composition here. But I don't think they'll have the line of sight that they want for Volskaya if they end up running it like on a defense. I definitely think dive is going to work best here, but we might be seeing OTW run the Hog Zarya just because maybe if they can't beat them, they can out DPS them.
Maybe, but again, I don't even think that it'd work, honestly. And luckily, they're actually going to be rolling out on the Winston, but they're actually going to opt for the Far Mercy here. So it's going to be a completely different style of play versus the fast pace that Wisdom Academy is. And I don't know if this composition is actually ready for the fast pace, like despite that the fact that they do have no hit scan on there, but that doesn't mean the Pharah is the best play there because they have the Lucio speed and the Reaper to mow down their tanks really fast before the Pharah can really do anything.
That is true, but I mean, OTW are going to have to be careful walking into this because if Thai's just able to have the space he wants and shoot at their backline, Phantom or Mello will go down before the fight even begins. Yeah, we're going to be seeing them going out. Mello's going to be taking a bit of damage. He's still taking his time. They're rotating. Phantom takes a direct, but he just barely survives using his abilities very early on. That's not going to be great. Look at that. Immediately causing the discourse. Bubble coming out. They look so confused, but Off the Goose is going to get Minimax. That's massive. They've just lost their monkey for this fight. D-Kick almost goes down, just manages to survive. Red Panda's going to get Mellow. They've lost the speed boost. Now they're looking to get the Spongy, but they're not able to pick him off, and now the fight is sort of slow. They're taking the time. Zerth is going to go out of his mech, and the Spongy's going to get Eagle while Thai gets Tree. That's two major players going down, and all that's left is Moira on the point. Off the Goose is going to go down, and what went wrong for their dive?
Honestly, that pick on the Lucio there was actually really key because that's their speed boost. That's their key around that Pharah there. That's how they get from their targets. And if you pick off that Lucio first, that basically just gets rid of your Reaper because that Reaper's just stuck and he's lost, and which is why he was able to be picked off. And we're actually seeing a swap off the Reaper here to the Widow. Maybe it's actually a good thing to try and get that Pharah out of the sky, but they actually had that going in there, and if they just didn't have their Lucio just did not die, things would have been incredibly differently for OG.
Yeah, oh my Tree's gonna get Spongy, but Spongy's gonna get Phantom. I definitely think Wisdom have the better trade there because they're look at that, they just immediately get the res. Tree's gonna get Titanic, they have no res for that. So now it's just up to Spongy to force the sniper to just not be able to get any value. They're gonna nano Mini, but he already uses his jump to disengage from the fight. Now he's just trying to get value off of it. Spongy's getting the revenge right onto Tree, but Blue Jay is gonna dive Spongy and gonna be able to get him. Now they're kind of mismatched. The Primal coming out looking to just bubble, get him off. Zorth is hacked, but I mean the Primal's kind of in a bad position. He's going after a tank. He's not getting any value. D-Kick almost falls off the map, but it's just barely going to be broken right back on. Now the Sound Barrier and Diva Bomb coming out. It gets two! And unfortunately, Wisdom is unable to get anything. OTW has the advantage here, as they're going to be able to finish Titanic off. And, you know, that was a really good, I'd say a decent, not a really good, but a decent push off OTW.
I'd say coming in from OTW, they definitely look like a different team than what we saw in Ilios. Their funny antics and what they did in the last map are all gone. That was all behind them now. They're looking for some new blood here. And the swap off of the Reaper to the Widow is actually incredible. It's actually really smart to keep their Pharah Mercy out of the skies and making her play a little bit more passively and keeping her in check and keeping the pressure off.
Yeah, look at that, the barrage coming out immediately. It gets Mellow and Eagle, so now, and then Tree, they have to walk out while they were getting ready to position, and they're going to be trying to get the stagger picks out of here to cause them to just, oh man, this is massive. Phantom's not being able to get out. He is going to stay alive though, just barely. And now Tree's going to be switching from Widow to the Ashe. Now, what changes are that going to make? Because both the snipers have switched on to Ashe.
I'd imagine it's going to make I'd imagine it's to get the faster fire rate and the consistent damage out of there, because that Widow, I imagine they didn't think they were getting any value, but honestly, I just think it's because they all bunched up on the right side there. They were setting up a dive right there, and the fire just saw it.
Yeah. EMP coming out. Eagle misses the jump onto the bridge, so now he's fighting on point. They're looking to get anything. Geekeg is going down first. That's massive. They're not going to be having the rest for this fight. Titanic looking to get them out of the fight, and she's going to get Red Panda. They now have no healing, but they are going to get Eagle, but Titanic's going to go down. That's what all the goose is gonna get Minimax, so now it's up to them to stall on the point. Geekeg does valve right back on, but flies too high and misses the res. Geekeg's going low, but just barely being able to survive. They're kind of contesting onto the point, going one by one. Zerth is now going down before he's able to re-mech. And now the sound barrier going on to the side of OTW to give them some survivability, but they're not getting any picks fast enough. So now the respawns are going back into the favor. Titanic's going to be breaking away as the bomb comes out. It's not going to be able to get anyone, and Minimax unfortunately walks into the enemy team, is going to be punished for that. And then Titanic's going to be able to punch off before he can get much value, but now the bomb's going on a point. He's not going to be able to touch it, but he is going to be able to make space for them. Now the Demon Bomb going right onto the center. It's going to get Phantom as he was stuck into the corner, but Geekeg is going to be going down into this fight. The EMP coming off from off the goose, but he's not going to be able to get much off of it as everyone's kind of split up. And now Minimax is looking to stall this point out longer. Zerth is looking to get his mech, but he's not able to, as Eagle's just going to be able to poke him off. And they're just being able to stall this really well. Minimax is going to be able to get Blue Jay, so now they've lost that mech. This is the picks that they needed, because in 2CP, once you start getting 1, it turns to 2, then it turns to 3, as they're fighting this monkey on the point. And now she's going to be throwing the bomb directly onto it, making them the space. Is going to be able to get Geekeg, and this might be the ultimate that they needed, as Red Pant's not able to push in, and Spongy's going to be able to get picked off because he's Tracer 150, he's going low. And now the Coalescence going out into this fight. Minimax just looking to be picked off, and now they're looking to get the supports going back on. Red Panther's going to be going down. All that's left is Titanic is going to be popping the Death Blast. The Sound Barrier's going to be able to save the Diva, but Zerth is still going down. Zorth is still going down into this fight. All that's left is the Lucio looking down, as he has to try to hold his point. They need less than 1 tick. And now the monkey's going right back onto the point. The EMP going in. It's going to be able to get him, and all that's left. And no, they're going to be switching onto the ball for the stall. They're looking to get this down, and my throat hurts. And the Doomfist coming on, just barely able to touch. He's going to be picked up immediately. And before Spongy can contest, it's going to be over.
What an intense fight there. That took so much time. And honestly, if I were Wisdom Academy, I would not be upset. They stalled that point for so long, and it was actually quite impressive the way they did that. However, once OTW able to pull it off with a minute 25, not too bad coming in from them, especially after their performance in the first map here. But honestly, they look like they just got their things together. They quickly learned that their funny antics are not they're not able to get away with those because they're playing against Wisdom. But that's just OTW actually got things together. However, Wisdom, like, I don't really know. They kind of went for the Farah Mercy, which OTW found a way to work around that. So I'm hoping they actually learn from that and don't lock that again. Again, with the Reaper swap on the end for the stall, albeit it was a swap to stall, but again, it actually got their tank, which I figured they could actually take momentum, and they actually did have that at the end. But I feel like it was just failed priority because they were just kind of like stalling in there, and I imagine their comms went down because they went out there and didn't focus anything at all. I think if OTW can exploit that and basically get them to fight to stall, and basically in those intense where you need comms right there, that's how OTW can take this map from them.
No, 100%. Their target focusing kind of ended when it went into that, and that gave OTW the ability to just win it by coming back one by one. Now, but Titanic's going to be on the Sombra, so they're looking to scout. They want to play hard aggression with the Reaper. They're rotating slowly on the point. They want to get that Ash off the high ground, eating the dynamite. Now they're preparing for this push. Bubble comes out early for both the monkeys. Now they're going in, and they look to get the monkey off high ground. They get Eagle right off. This is technically theirs, but their monkey is watching the backline. He's going to be able to get off the goose, so there's no Sombra, and Spongy gets Eagle because he starts walking into the enemy. Blue Jay is going to get hacked, and he's going to get demeched, and this just looks like a free push on the side of Wisdom.
Honestly, I feel like just Wisdom, it just came down to composition. Like, they had the Reaper to keep their monkey and force them to jump away and give up the high ground, which is not ideal at all. And it just came down to that raw DPS that came right there in that room. The pathing there was a little bit weird coming in from Wisdom, but again, OTW just couldn't find an answer to that. The Ash couldn't really find a pick on the rotation because they kind of played in that cover, so the Ash got almost no value from that.
Hello.
Yeah, they're going to be going on to the second point. They have over 5 minutes to cap, so this could either be a really good push or a stalled out for the longest time. Eagle is using his bubble really early, so they might have a disadvantage going into the fight. While Wisdom are rotating, they're looking to get people off the high ground. They're scouting, they're getting their information, which is so valuable. But OTW know where they are. They are now hiding into this small corridor, and Optimus has EMP for this fight. And now look at that. They're using the Coalescence to get the engage, but it's going to be hacked out. They get 2 picks on Mellow and Tree. That's absolutely massive. They have no damage and no res in this. And now the counter EMP is coming out. Same with the bomb. And look at that. That's going to get everyone off the point. So now it's just up to stall.
OTW just came in there rolling. They knew exactly what they wanted to do in that fight. They came in there and they had a plan. They got all the information they needed, and they were able to exploit OTW. And the fact that they just don't... OTW had no answer to what they did. They had no answer to that Sombra Reaper. They insisted on that Ashe, and it didn't really pay out for them, honestly. I feel like Eagle's just getting pressured, and he can't actually... He's getting too much pressure, and he needs some assistance from his team, and he is trying... I feel like it's just comes down to the composition difference. It's insane how much value Reaper gets versus an Ashe, especially when you take that pathing into that room. Ashe gets nothing in there, whereas a Reaper gets so much value because he's right there in the fight.
Yeah, and look at that. Wisdom were able to cap with 4 minutes and 59 seconds. And compared to OTW, that's literally a fraction of what they got. And if they were to switch off the Ashe, they would have went to the Reaper, and if Eagle played a bit more passively, they could have stalled that out a bit longer. But either Eagle went in and then got punished by Spongy on the Reaper, or they would walk around and slowly get those picks, even though they had the advantage with the EMP for that fight.
I mean, what choice does Eagle have, really? He in his head, he knows he can't give up that high ground, but again, he's forced to go in there, and he has to go in there and do a soft engage. So Eagle can't. He's getting nothing, really. He just gets pressured out, and he has no choice but to actually face them right there so they don't give him the high ground. And it's honestly just impressive how Wisdom Academy is just exploiting this. But again, we're going to see compositions, but we're rolling out on this is going to be an intense Widow duel here. 360 versus Spongy.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see Wisdom back onto the Pharah. They're really consistent. They must have a lot of faith that Titanic can fix how he plays. The anti-grenade going in, kind of stalling them in. They're now split into this fight. The Mercy staying with the Widow, and Tree's going to be able to get Spongy. They're now down. It looks like they're going to bubble. They're bubbling for the res, but the dive's going on, and they're punishing Geekake for thinking that they were just going to allow it to happen. And now look at that, they're immediately going to be getting Blue Jay out of his mech going into this fight. They're just looking to get that D.Va out of there, but he's going to get that pocket, and Minimax is going to be punished for going way too far in. Red Panda's now going to be out, and that's honestly a pretty clean dive and execution coming off of OTW.
This is an impressive push coming in from OTW. They were able to get that opening pick there, and punishing for that res, do that collapse onto that is just... It was incredibly smart of them to do that. They just had the resources, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? We gotta make sure they can't res." And with that pick on Geekake, it just was able to snowball from there because that Pharah has no cover, I guess, especially against a Widow. They just can't. She just really can't do anything there, and it's just honestly a snowball from there.
Yeah, they only have about 30 seconds to attempt to start capping this point. It was going to be taking high ground. They're now adding pressure onto this point, jumping down. Tree is still free. He has the open range. Coalescence coming out from Phantom. They're looking to add the pressure. They want to finish this fight as fast as they can so they don't go into overtime. Titanic going down early. That's going to be terrible for their side. Spongy is on the Reaper, so they do have extra pressure, but now they're not able to find any pigs. Spongy, the Primal going out, looking to boot them around. Certainly going to be going out of his mech, and Geeky is kind of in Wonderland, looking to just find a solo pick. The Coalescence coming out from Red Panda to stall this fight out. Now here comes the bomb coming out of Blue Jay. It's not able to get anyone, but he does get people off the point. And the EMP comes out. Spongy's going to be getting Eagle, but the res is coming right out, and Eagle's going to be going right back to the fight, bringing this into a 5-6. Minimax is going to be getting Tree, and then Spongy's going to die the moment that he uses the Death Blossom. That's so bad on their side. They're now calling this out. The EMP coming out. It's going to be getting everyone except for Blue Jay. Now the bomb, and it's going to stop them from touching point and still get forward.
an impressive hold coming in from Wisdom. It was honestly they knew that the Fire Mercy was not going to work, and this is where I actually applaud them. They actually swapped off it and was able to use the Reaper, which pressured Eagle slightly. But with the Fire Mercy, Eagle was able to do whatever he wanted because the Fire Mercy can just shoot. Was probably going to be shooting their squishies, but the Reaper is designed to keep their monkey in check. And although it wasn't necessarily the Reaper that won them that fight, it was just that massive EMP and the bomb just to zone them right off, and these picks that were just so necessary that they needed in the middle of the fight just came out in their favor, and they were able to take it. And massive props to Wisdom. And as far as OTW is concerned, they have to hold for a solid 5 minutes if they want to take this map as a win.
You know, I have a question.
Attackers incoming.
Wisdom on their attack, they won with technically only 2 pushes. Push on point 1 and push on point 2. Do you really think OTW have the ability to hold this?
Honestly, if OTW can play this smart and their Widow can get some picks, I honestly think it could work out in their favor. But again, they don't have a Sombra, so I don't know how this is going to fare for OTW there. The Sombra Reaper is just incredibly strong, and assuming they're going to take that same pathing, it's going to give 360 no... They have to get the pick on the rotation. There's no other way.
They do, OTW do want to keep Tree onto that Widow with the damage boost, so looking to pick anyone off as fast as possible. But Titanic got scouting in, but he gets hit by the Venom Mine, so he has to play patiently. But they have the information, they give them the room to start moving in, and now Tree has no angle. He's going to be rotating on the side, but it's already too late as they're immediately going. And now the fight's going to be taken on high ground. Tree's in a really good position to get a headshot on anyone. And now look, they get off the goose, off the high ground immediately, but they're gonna give up the high ground to go onto this point. And Tree just has the angle to do whatever he wants. He has no pressure, he has nothing, and look at this, Wisdom are now rotating around. They're looking to want to be going on to the right side, and it looks like they're using a lot of resources just to be going off. It seems, yeah, look, never mind, they're wanting to go to the back. They want to be able to get Tree off the high ground, but Tree is just rotating around them. They're literally playing tic-tac-toe. Now, Eagle is fighting them on the high ground. They're into the Mega Health Pack room. They're kind of stuck there, and Eagle almost goes down, barely just clinging to life. And Tree is trying to find any value from this side, but honestly, the zoning is getting so much. They finally managed to build the Coalescence, and this is what they want to do, but the Death Blossom comes out. It's not able to find anyone, and he's gonna go down because of it, but Tree is gonna be able to get spongy, so Eagle's gonna have room to do whatever he wants. He's going onto the high ground, but now he's gonna be counter-dodged onto the high ground to get that fight. Minimax looking to just get him down, and look at that, Eagle's gonna go down, but Geekik's gonna go down, and Titanic's gonna be hit by the Coalescence. That's honestly gonna just save them. And look at that, Melo's just trying to get it. He wasn't able to get the res off, and Zorth is looking to stall this out, but never mind, he's gonna stop himself from staggering. And what was the issue for Wisdom there?
Wisdom, honestly, their rotation, they're kind of like not... I don't really know. I think it's just that actually the Widow sightlines are actually working out incredibly because their rotations, and when they're deciding to engage on the fight, Eagle's playing a little bit more aggressive in that fight, which is why it was intensely close. But the sightlines is just pressuring them to the point where they have to the rotation, and they have to wait for resources. And again, the pressure from the tanks is just it's just incredible, and it's working out for OTW.
Yeah, Titanic is going to get off the goose early into this fight. Look at that bomb coming out. Kind of a... No, it gets Geekik! They've lost their Lucio. They don't have any speed boost in this fight. Now the counter bomb coming out. Same with the EMP. It's not going to be able to get anyone, but they do make space in, but Tree is still free. This is an interesting fight going on. Both monkeys primaling early. And now Zorth is going to be getting Phantom. They have less healing for this fight. Titanic is going to be picked off. They're not going to be having any counter EMP, but Melo's going to be picked off. And look at that, Wisdom managed to get it. And honestly, for me, that was kind of a confusing fight, and it's still going on. Spongy's going to get off the goose, but then off the goose is going to be picked off, and now it's just Blue Jay. And can you please clear up what just happened there? I'm very confused on what happened.
I am confused as well. I think because at this point, the Lucio isn't necessarily needed, and the fact that they had no damage there from the Reaper and that early pick on the Reaper means that their tanks have they don't really need a speed boost because they have no pressure. They just have a Widow they need to take care of, and the Widow wasn't really able to get much value from there. They needed a pick from that tree from 360, and he wasn't able to deliver. And Wisdom Academy just kind of were kind of able to exploit that and take the point.
But what is Wisdom's win condition right now? They have sights. Widow is able to doesn't have the rotations as they wanted. But oh, never mind. You're not even answering the question as the fight immediately happens. Death Blossom immediately going to be eaten from Spongy, and now the fight's slowly taken in. Spongy gets picked off. They're not going to be having that extra damage in, and because of that, Minimax is not able to get away. His pressure is just gone. Eagle just looking to get anyone else, but he's not going to be able to get much. But never mind. He's able to get Red Panda, and Geekik's going to be going down, and that's Wisdom out of here.
Honestly, I think Wisdom's just playing it slow, which is why it's not looking too great for them. They're just trying to play it slow, and then, yeah, they went in with the plan for the Reaper, but they didn't have much of anything else. They kind of just had it really just, they didn't really have much of a plan going. Their plan wasn't as solid as the defense coming in OTW.
Yeah, I worry that they're focusing way too much on rotations.
Yeah, they're kind of playing this like a brawl comp when they really just needed to actually play the dive and actually go in. They have the speed. They can get to places they need to.
Yeah. It's going to be 3 ults versus 3 ults for this fight. Off the Goose is looking to just add pressure, but look at that, they have less than a minute. That 5-minute time bank went nowhere. Off the Goose is going to wraith somewhere else. Minimax is immediately going to be pushed off. Both bombs coming out, and Blue Jay is going to get Red Panda, but Zerth is going to get 2. The fight's even. Sponge is going to get Eagle. Now they need to finish this up. They only need 1 tick, and they're barely halfway there. Melo's going to be getting Phantom, so now the stall is in their favor. But Zerth is going to be getting Tree, and now they're looking to finish this off. Sponge is going to be able to get Blue Jay. The Mercy's going to bout for Melo, and Eagle's going back on point. Now we're going to be seeing the Doomfist coming for that one-shot potential, and now they're looking to get it. They're kind of just rotating around. No one's really having into the fight. The punch comes out. It's not able to get anyone. Death Blossom looking to finish off the ball, and it is. All that's left is Doomfist has a major threat. It's going to be getting DK. Goodbye for the chance of the sound barrier. And now they're just letting this all on point. EMP coming out, but off the boost is going to die after it goes out. And they're just able to finish them off. No, but Eagle is going back onto the ball, being able to stall, and now they're just burning him down. And Phantom's going to just touch, and it's all over. And this fight's going to be going to Wisdom.
This fight could have gone either way, honestly, from the halfway there, because the first opening picks looked like they were favoring OTW there, but the EMP bomb was able to save the day. And again, Wisdom Academy just having that mentality of it isn't over until it's over, until every last one of us is dead. And I honestly think that this is keeping them in this is what's winning them the game here. Their mentality versus OTW's it's incredible how OTW just assumes a fight is won, and then I don't think it happened that last fight. I honestly think it just came down to Wisdom Academy's EMP bomb, because they were also able to get that Winston as well, which means they got more value out of that EMP than the first 2 picks, even than the first 2 picks coming from OTW there. And that fight just was incredible to watch. And although although Wisdom Academy did take it, it was close, and OTW can actually pull off the reverse sweep. I firmly believe that they can actually bring it together, because they are slowly pulling it together. They just fix up a few mistakes, and they can totally take Wisdom Academy down and off of their reign of terror here.
Honestly, I'm a little worried. I don't think OTW are going to be able to. It feels like specifically into the main tank area, Eagle's not exactly comfortable playing this role. Or at least his team isn't synergized with him, because when he's pushing in, they're pushing out. They're never exactly together. And Wisdom, while they are focusing on rotations, the fact that they are at least playing as a unit means that they have the advantage in every fight.
This is very true, but I don't think those rotations are really... I mean, I agree with those rotations that they do need that high ground. I just think it takes too long. They're taking way too long on especially first point. It got really scary because they took too long waiting in there. Like, they had the pick on the Reaper. They could actually make something, they could actually hard engage in a tank there or something. They could have made something happen because they had no pressure. They could have even dived that Widow, but they kind of just waited. They took too much time, and that's what really made Wisdom Academy just, that's what made the game close, really, is they take a little bit too much, which, yeah, it's okay because they had all the time in the world, but it just came down, it was just really scary if you're a fan of Wisdom Academy there to watch that, seeing that they could have actually lost that map or drawn it.
We almost see the swap in for Nukmar coming in for Geekig, but for some reason they're going to be keeping Geekig in, and honestly, after Geekig dies to a bomb that shouldn't have gotten her, honestly, I would sub her out too, and, it's just kind of confusing why they're not.
honestly, I don't think a swap would change anything. Wisdom Academy is already doing pretty good things, unless they have a specific comp and a specific strategy they want to pull out. Um, I don't, I don't think they need to switch anything. I think they're doing pretty good as far as OTW does. Um, the Iggledy Bob is actually getting, he's actually playing pretty well for considering round one where he didn't really know what to do, but now he's actually getting a job and he's actually getting his team working together, which a lot of props to him. And as well as Tree 60, they're able to apply the pressure. Even that angle as Widow, just able to do so much for the team there. Honestly, the two players doing so much for the team, but I don't know if anything is holding OTW back. I don't think it's a specific player. I just think it comes down to mentality and coordination. I think that's all it. But OTW seems to be pulling it together, so it's going to be pretty close. It's coming up on map 3.
Now, you've seen 2 maps from these teams. So what do you think the next map is going to be? Because we're going on to CP. Which do you think kind of favors from each playstyle?
Wait, which map type would it be coming up next?
We're going straight to 2CP, if I'm correct. So that's like Hanamura, Temple, and Volsky. Oh, wait. Oh, hybrid. My apologies. You know, it was so fast, I immediately forgot. Yeah, but we're going hybrid. So Kings Row, Eichenwald, Hollywood.
Okay, I can see Eichenwald being picked. I can also see Kings Row being picked. I honestly think Kings Row, because OTW seems to want to play that Rhine. So if OTW gets the pick, they'll probably pick Kings Row, and yeah, they do pick Kings Row. But yeah, they're gonna be picking the Kings Row because they wanted to put the Reinhardt because they had so much confidence coming with Ilios, and I'm actually extremely excited to see if they can actually pull off this Reinhardt, because I love seeing Reinhardt play myself, and Eagle here, he wanted to play since map 1, but he just wasn't able to because of that Sombra Reaper. But maybe, just maybe, he can actually get it working here.
Yeah. I just love seeing Ryan play too. There's something about just seeing a big, hulking, beautiful German man just like hit me with a 20-ton hammer, just slam me into submission and just fire strike. It's great.
Anytime I see a Reinhardt in the game, I get excited myself. I love seeing Reinhardt. Hopefully they don't debate us here and just go dive here. That'd be incredibly boring to watch. But
we'll force a petition out. We'll make them play Brawl.
I feel like OTW is going to pull out the Reinhardt here. I really feel like OTW is going to try and make it work, and I think they have the coordination to make it work, because they're starting to see that, okay, this wacky stuff we were pulling out isn't going to work, okay? But this thing is going to work, so maybe if we carry it over to here, maybe we can get more value out of this. And, I'm excited to see what OTW can do now that they're learning so much, and OTW, even after this game, they're going to be pretty, later in the season, they're going to be pretty great. I can tell you that much. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna hold you to it. We're gonna be having 5 seconds left into the time. 3, 2, 1. Finally, the R's. Both teams go wide, but I'm gonna hold you to that because I think you're right.
Now
you can't hold me to that. I am standing in my statement. OTW later in the season are going to look. They're gonna look pretty nasty once they get everything together, because they just look like a new. Map 1, they just look like a completely new team. I don't know what's going on, but map 2, they completely changed it around. So once they get that pace going, they get that coordination going, they can actually probably take Wisdom Academy later in the season.
No, that's definitely true. And yeah, both teams going straight onto the Reinhardt.
But we're seeing a few differences here. We're seeing the May and Baptiste coming in from OTW. An interesting pick and an interesting choice, but I'm not against it, honestly. Baptiste with his increased ult charge there can get him an amp window, and basically that window fire strike is an insane combo if you can time it correctly. And but we're seeing the traditional Sombra Reaper here, so anything is possible. The Reaper just to keep them in check with that wall. Honestly, I don't know how much value that May is going to go. I think they're going to be forced to swap off that May later, but we're going to have to see about that coming in later in the round.
Yeah, Tree's going to go on Widow for the scouting and for the quick shot. Personally, I think the BAP is going... Wait, the Immort comes out early or something? I guess, as they're going to just start scouting, and he's immediately switching to the Moira, that a sweat, and Tree's going to be switching to Reaper. Now they're getting ready for this fight. as they've done all the scouting that they needed. They just looked straight, and now they've seen it. They're gonna be waiting to straight zoom in, and Geek gets picked off. Now they're zooming right onto this point, going straight into the fight. Minimax is going to be able to get off the goods. They're not going to be having a May for this. And now Spongy is going to be able to get Tree. Eagle's going low. He's going to be bubbled, but it doesn't matter as he goes down. And Shatter! That's they only get one tick in that fight, but what happened there?
Again, they just came down to they assumed the fight was won because Geek was down, but they didn't play. Then I believe it was Off the Goose that played pretty aggressive there and got immediately pinned by Minimax. An insane play from Wisdom, able to pull it back, even losing their speed. But the thing is, if they come to them, they kind of took the fight to them. They didn't need the speed because they just came in, they just collapsed.
And an EMP for this fight. And Zorth is going to be getting Eagle, and look at this. Tree is trying to flank, but they're following him, and it is just an insane how Titanic spent maybe 2 fights, built the EMP, and then they invested for this fight. That he is getting it consistently.
And we're going to be seeing some swaps coming in. I'm not agreeing with the swaps. I think they had it right the first time. They seem to be playing it smarter there. They're just giving way too much value to that. They're just not playing it right. I don't think they're just assuming the fight's won once they get one pick, when you can't be doing that, especially when you're trying to take the fight to them.
Yeah, they're now kind of brawling, and Grab coming out from Blue Jay. They're looking to get something with it. They're only going to be able to get Minimax, and Zorth is able to get Eagle. But look at that, the Coalition's going to be able to finish off Red Panda, Geek, and Zorth. Now they're looking to stagger them out of the fight, and OTW is going to be able to win that off with the Grab and Coalescence.
I think that was just the grab there. It just worked out in their favor. Geek they haven't built that beat there yet to save them, and honestly, building that grab really fast just really helped them out there. Again, they traded main tanks, but when they popped in the Coalescence, they knew there was no match for that, and there's no winning that.
They invest the grab early, and while Eagle uses Shatter, it stalls them from quickly finishing them, but they are still able to finish them. And look at this, Wisdom are able to just walk out on a midnight stroll. It's a beautiful day outside. They see a little Blue Jay, they snipe him out of the air, and before Phantom's able to touch back to the sponsors and so finish them off, and that is just an incredible stagger.
I think Eagle just tried to delay the inevitable there. I honestly think they could have gotten out of that if they just took that shatter and they just took that loss and okay, we're gonna back up and stop reset, but they didn't. They decided to stay and see, okay, maybe we can win this if we play this out, but...
Oh, a massive EMP, and that goes combo with the shatter, and they are just able to finish off that fight.
Yeah, the Wisdom Academy just comboing that EMP shatter, an incredibly deadly ultimate that obviously OTW was not ready for, and finally we're seeing the swap to Sombra Reaper. Finally we're going to be seeing that mirror match that they actually so desperately need here.
But there's an issue on the side of OTW. They are only having 2 ults coming live, while both support ults are for Wisdom. They're going to have to get these supports out of there or invest their ults really early. Yep.
Yeah.
They're now taking the fight slowly in. Off the Goose gets hacked. He tries to flank. He doesn't get hacked, though. He just barely manages to dodge, but he's still going to go down early. The Coalescence being used early onto this fight. Death Blossom looking to find someone. He's going to get Blue Jay. His kick's going to get Phantom, and now they're rolling in. But I apologize for interrupting. Please continue the thought you had earlier.
I'm just saying, OTW with that huge ult deficit coming in, from that DPS, they keep swapping and making these swaps that I personally don't think they needed to do. I think it just needs to be an entire different change of pace for the way they play, because they're kind of just taking fights that Wisdom Academy is just able to turn around, which is not what you want to see, especially when you're playing that fast-paced brawl comp.
Yes. Look, they're going to use Grab. It's going to get Red Panda. The sound barrier comes out a tiny bit early, but it's going to give them enough value to just, no, never mind. It's not enough. And now they're just trying to stall themselves. Off the Goose is going to go down. They get the hack onto Phantom, so his Coalescence not going to be doing as much, but they need to get out of there. They're just staggering themselves at this point. But shouldn't the sound barrier had saved them?
Yeah, the sound barrier should have saved them, but I think they were able to get that pick on the Moira before the sound barrier, which is really worked out for OTW. And basically the beat, they need to take that beat and they just need to cut their losses and dip from there. That fight is lost as soon as you lose that, and I respect the mentality from Wisdom Academy of trying to fight in a fight and not losing it, but again, it's just I feel like that fight could have gone a lot differently if it just backed out.
Look at that. They get the counter. They get the EMP on. Massive shatter going on. It's going to be getting Eagle immediately. Blue Jay's going to get Minimax, but Surf is going to get straight. And now the grab and EMP being used, stopping this fight. And that was, I feel like, a bit of an overinvestment into the ults for Wisdom.
Honestly, I don't think so, because you're looking at the ults that OTW invested. They invested Shadow and EMP, and they invested ults before, and honestly, I think that they invested the perfect amount of ults, and they needed to win that. Albeit the EMP grab was a bit much, but you can never be too sure.
Wait, off the Goose switches from Reaper to the Junkrat. They want more zoning than pressure. Coalescence coming in early with the fight. They're looking. Red Panda's playing really aggressively. He's in front of his main tanks. And they're just not. Look at that. He gets punished for it. He's gonna be shut down. They lost for Moira early into this fight. Grab now being used. They don't have a sound barrier to save. And unfortunately, this is gonna be the fight going straight to OTW. Now, honestly, you know, give me the rundown. The Red Panda throw there.
I don't know what Red Panda was doing. I don't know why he was trying to get more value out of Coalescence. Like, you can't trying to force value all by yourself, especially in a game like this. Red Panda can't be pushing up like that. You can't, you can't just be forcing value with Coalescence. You just gotta use it to zone at the very least. Just keep him backing off just for a few seconds and they can push.
Yeah, Red Panda's cute, but he's not hot. He is no Rim Jazzberry, so he's not able to get the sauce in. But now the fight's starting to commence, and Coalescence coming in from Phantom to start this fight out. Death Blossom right into them. It's going to be booped away, but he still gets Phantom. That's massive Riptire coming out. It's playing Pac-Man, and it's going to get Spongy. But Minimax also goes down because he was so far away. His supports weren't with him. And now they have a minute onto the clock. Zerth is going to be able to get Iggo, but he's going to sacrifice some life for that. DK might be going down for this fight as they get hacked. They're surviving on an inch, but now they've been shot through the heart. They are now out. It's going to be going on for 48 seconds, and now this fight is kind of slowed down. They're wanting to go in. Minimax goes in. The EMP comes out, but he's going to be able to get straight. Minimax is going to be going down because of it. And it's a bit interesting. Now the EMP going out and gonna get OTW. That's gonna hit everyone, and this is the pressure that they needed. They were waiting for that. And off the Goose is gonna be able to get Spongy. He's looking to go touch point, but Red Panda is getting his revenge and is gonna get him down.
Honestly, the coming into the fight, that tire to the zone off Minimax was big. They split the team up, but again, they weren't able to get value off of that EMP, because you see the differences between EMPs there. It's just a massive difference in coordination.
Yeah, now the fight's going in a little early. Tree is on the Widow. They use Coalescence. Both sound bears are out. What a shatter! The charge, it's not able to get anyone, but Zerth is gonna get Blue Jay. That's no Graviton for this fight, and that may win it, as now they got 3. This Riptire needs to be big. It's not gonna be able to hit anyone, and now they're just stalling on point, but it's all over. They're gonna be held right on to 3rd point, just barely.
Again, when it comes, as I said before, once it comes down to that EMP difference, like, it comes down to that coordination, and you're seeing Wisdom Academy. It's really showing when it really counts. Wisdom Academy is just their comms, and they feel like their structure and their target focus is just a lot more on point than you see with OTW, because OTW has to have that. It looks like they have to have it right in front of them, the obvious choice for the entire team to see. But other than that, they're not really coordinated. Eggledy Bop's kind of just getting lost, and although Minimax is giving him definitely a run, I feel like Minimax is just playing Iggy Bop to like a fiddle there, and it's just insane the amount of shatters he's able to pull off even without an EMP needed. It's
Ready for battle.
Honestly, look, I feel like Wisdom's big weakness right now is just tempo, because they either start the fight out really slowly, or they invest ultimates and then just go head in. Once they start losing the momentum and this tempo of the game, they start feeling, they look uncomfortable.
I honestly think that the fights they lose, like, constantly the supports kind of like are out of position. They get picked off early. It's almost every single time. It happened with Geek and Red Panda. I mean, I imagine Geeks is just, I don't know, it's a position error on Geek, and Red Panda trying to force value on a Coalescence, and they're shot, and which you really can't be doing. You have to let it go, and if you misuse an ultimate, you misuse it. Don't try and force it.
If I was Navino right now, I'd send Gigi back to Brazil, you know? They're gonna be waiting to start this fight, going a little slowly, rotating around the statue. It looks like they want to go on high ground, probably to just jump that gap, go straight onto tree. They're now there. They don't have any amp. They're just gonna fall. They're gonna go underneath. They're taking the rotations. This is what we saw Wisdom do. Now they're going on hot. Now they're going on top. This is looking like the sweet life on deck. They're just walking around. And then Tree and Mello have to give up the high ground and go. Look, they've switched positions. The attackers are on defense and the defense are on attackers. They're now taking this fight a little slowly. They don't have the positions that they want, but Tree's still on the high ground. He's on top of the on one of the cafe banisters, and Zork is gonna go down. He can go down to the turret. My son gets him, and Spongy is going. Now they're just staggering themselves, and the fight's kind of over. What happened there?
I don't disagree with that rotation. It's very smart, zoning them off the point, but again, you have to be able to, if you're gonna do that, you have to drop and have to have a thing that you're going to push. Like honestly, I don't, they had a plan there and they didn't really execute it well, and they kind of didn't really force the fight until it was, they backed off and they didn't,
They're gonna be rotating through Cafe, and wait, they split off the goose, and now they're going straight for him. This is just like Ratatouille. They're running after him. They're hungry to get him, and now they're going to be meeting him there. They're going to be getting the turret, so that's now a 6v6. There is no Sun in for this fight, but they're switching to the high ground. They're wanting to see if they can jump onto anyone. No, they're going to be going straight over on top. No, they're gonna jump down. Coalescence being used early for this fight. The turret now back. Shatter's gonna go. It's not gonna get Red Bandage fresh out of it. Now the Molten Core, and that's gonna be able to get two. This is such a clean fight coming out of OTW.
Honestly, OTW just happened to invest more ults than the other team. But you're seeing that this Diva is not working. They're not. Look at that ult charge in the Diva compared to Blue Jay. It's just 26. Versus Blue Jay's 80 almost to grab essentially, and it's their rotations I agree with, but they're not executing it. They're not, when it comes to execution, when it comes to the actual engage, they don't know what to do after that.
And OTW is going to be using the Bob to split them off. Titanic almost, it looked like he wanted to use the EMP, but they're going to be waiting for Bob to go away. And look, they're stuck into this cafe. Titanic is getting into the position. Massive EMP that's going to get 4 people. Shatter going online, and Spongy, they're just able to use that. The turret is offline, it's not getting any value, and now they're just looking to touch. Mello is able to get the res off to Eagle, but at this point, he's just free ult charge. But they have the advantage, they need to be playing aggressive, finish them off, don't be scared, and it took them to almost 1 minute to be able to cap this. Do you think OTW are going to be able to stop them from being able to cap, like, from the rest of this?
OTW definitely can do it, but because they do have all the ults to help them, but again, it just comes down to the use of it, and it's just, I don't really know. I'm questioning their usage, because they could have grabbed in that hotel and taken the fight to them, but again, I'm not really sure. They're kind of letting the fight come to them, and that's the way they're playing, really slow.
They used grab early and Molten Core. I think that's a bit of an overinvestment. The grab looked like it was going to be doing a lot, but they wanted to secure the fight.
I mean, again, against Wisdom Academy, you can never be too sure. Like, Wisdom Academy can definitely pull it out, especially after that grab from the Molten Core, which is just a measure, but again... And actually, it was a nice job of them investing ultimates and actually taking the fight to them, so they kind of, like, made me eat my own words a little bit there, but,
Yeah, what I liked from OTW before was they took the fight, they waited for the rotations end, and they took the fight to Wisdom, which is how Wisdom lost. And now that Wisdom are taking the fight to them, they're now slacking. They're meeting up by the choke. Coalescence being used early on. Shatter goes out, but same with the EMP bomb. It's gonna get off the goose. But now Bob's gonna be touching point. However, Wisdom has already won this. Can you give us the rundown?
The Shatter coming in was actually really smart, but they didn't have anything to follow up with. Like, there's no speed boost to speed onto them. It was kind of just a Shatter thrown there, and they kind of, there's no match. I mean, you can't predict an EMP bomb there, especially when you're gonna try and win the fight with the Shatter. But like, they threw the bomb, and it was just unfortunate that it was happening right then and there.
Oh, look, Red Panda is able to get Milo. So now the stall goes on. Sponges is going to get Blue Jay. They're backing up a tiny bit, but Zerk is going to allow himself to die. Massive Shatter goes up. They're looking to follow up, and they get Phantom. And then they get Ingo. They're wanting to win Street Phase instantly.
That is honestly impressive. They were able to cut off. They were able to take another fight And honestly, if Wisdom Academy keeps taking the fight to them and actually able to like get them lost, it's essentially over. OTW, they have to play it slow, and the fight has to come to them. But they have to be ready for those plays, those shatters, and if they're not ready for it, they can't. Their strategy isn't going to work.
Yep. They're playing this corner. Zerth is going onto the high ground, forcing them to not have any room there, but the turret's still alive. It's still getting slow poked. They're using the coalescence, but same with Molten Core being thrown. It's in a weird position. It's not going to get much value, but Spongy is going to be picked off by the Torbjorn. Off the Goose is helping his team to even this up. Shatter comes out, it gets blocked, Sound Barrier gets used early for the grab. It was very good, but Titanic's not going to live from it, and Geeking's going to fall. All that's left is, Zerth just trying to live. I apologize, continue.
No, it's just Zerth, they're playing that, I really don't know what went wrong. They I think just like Grav just got a lot of value, and they weren't able to restabilize after that Graviton, and even with to save them. And yeah, the Molten Core was able to zone them off for a little bit, but despite the misuse of ults.
Yep, look, EMP Shatter, it's their bread and butter. Bob comes out on a weird side of the point, and now they're just able to get picked. Titanic is going to go down, however. Zerth is going to get Tree while he tries to exit, and now this is just a slow push. So either OTW stays calm for this fight, or they start panicking and immediately just start switching to stall comp. It's getting close. It's only 4 meters away. Coalescence used early. The Shatter goes out. It's not able to hit anyone. The Molten Core now zoning them off, but they have enough healing. Diva Bob coming out. It's looking to be big. It gets the tanks, and they're not able to touch as Wisdom 3-0s OTW.
That was an insane bomb. It's incredibly smart from Zorthcon, able to zone those tanks off. I don't know if Iggledy had his shield down or what, but it was able to get that value. Oh, and the total debate on the play of the game there. But again,
what a toxic.
But again, that bomb there, honestly, insane. It zoned them off the point and able to get both tanks, which is why it was just so insane. When you kill the tanks, you win the game. That's essentially how it goes.
Yeah. That was really impressive. I don't know if do we do interviews?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm feeling like we invite Minimax here to get the opinion from the main tank of how the tempo worked and everything. But who do you feel we should bring in for this?
I think either Minimax or Titanic. They were both on fire today. The Titanic Sombra was too much. Titanic just made it. OTW look so incredibly inexperienced with his Sombra, and was able to combo that with everything and able to get EMP every fight. It was honestly impressive. But
yeah, it was really good.
MTD as well. It was insane. It was he definitely won that Ryan v Ryan matchup, just not letting those shatters come through, and basically just his shatters were a fight winner for sure there. Insane from Wisdom.
Yeah. Minimax, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, how does it feel? You've just won your first match of the season.
Pretty good. We're starting off strong.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Duga start the questions off first, and then I'll get into mine.
Okay, so OTW last season they ran some wacky comps there. They ran some, I believe it was a Far Mercy Bastion. What did your team do to prepare for the things that OTW would pull out?
From what we heard of them in scrims, we didn't really expect anything out of the ordinary, so we were just focusing on running our thing and running it well, so we were hopefully prepared for whatever they threw at us.
All right. All right, that last map, how does it feel just to play Reinhardt on that map? Like how to get those shatters through, like how did you do it? How did you handle that?
Ryan is a lot of fun. We do a lot of Winston these days, but Ryan is still like my personal favorite hero, so I'm happy to meet Ryan.
Yeah, it looks like you were able to get a lot more done than Eagle could. Who would you say was the biggest problem on OTW, if there was one?
Biggest problem? Their engages mostly on the sky map with their tanks were pretty good, putting pressure on our back line. Probably their tanks, but they all played fine.
All right. Is there any player that that you were worried about coming into this match, or were you guys just all level headed and playing your thing?
Personally, going into this match, this is my first time on League Zero, and I know basically nobody besides our team.
Yeah, but your team was overall just level headed coming in,
Yeah.
just calm, and they were like, we'll play our game, and we're no one really on there is too scary. Is that how it normally went?
Pretty much, yeah. Apparently, people have been underestimating us, and I hope this sends the message that the rest of the teams, you guys better watch out.
Yeah, you guys looked insane today. Like, you guys look like you've been playing together for a long time. Like your rotations and everything, and the way you use your ults and cycle, the combo with the EMP Shatter or EMP Bomb, it's insane. And the fact that you guys change it up is just something beyond than what I normally see from this lower level play. So, have you guys been practicing that in scrims, or how long have you guys been touring together?
We've just been scrimming since the team formed. As far as I know, there's not a lot of previous synergy in our team. Like I said, this is my first time in League Zero, so I didn't know anybody going into this, and I don't think we had that much pre-team synergy going on. So just a lot of scrimming, a lot of on the basics.
Yeah, who would you want to give a shout out to on your team? Like, who do you think performed extremely well?
Oh, that's tough. How can I pick just one person? I'm gonna give the shout out to Zorth, my off tank. Always there to back me up. Always there to help the calls. So happy to have a good partner as in Zorth.
That is great to hear. That's all the questions I have. Intel, do you have any questions here for me?
Yeah. First off, who was underestimating Wisdom? I need to know. And every team so far has been underestimating each other, but I knew Wisdom coming into this. You guys had the advantage, and did you feel like you guys were very confident going into this match?
I'd say we were confident. We weren't trying to be too overconfident. Just focus on our gameplay and focus on doing what we're supposed to do. But we definitely felt confident going into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now you guys have defeated OTW now. Who are you looking at next? Are you just gonna wait till your next week game? We're not looking at any.
Personally, we're just looking at one game at a time. So we finished this one, and now we're going to go back into scrims this week and figure out who our next opponent is and how to beat them.
Yeah, I mean that's very impressive. And as we talked over during the game, you guys recently got Geekic. How does it feel having the new support over Nukmar, having the feeder who dies to random bombs?
Well, I think she's definitely good in the team dynamic. We've been playing around with a few different comps with our players. We have, I think, the biggest roster in Novice, if I remember correctly. So we've been playing around with different people in different roles, and we were actually going to play Nukmar in this set for at least some of the maps, but then we ended up we were just kind of rolling with the team we had, so we decided to just stick with it.
That makes sense. I don't really have anything else to say. Is there anything you personally want to say, whether it's a little bit of BM to any other team or a shout out to some?
Nope. I'm just looking forward to playing more Overwatch.
Wholesome.
Yeah, very wholesome. Well, great. It was great to talk to you, and you guys played amazing there. Definitely made OTW look so lost in what you guys were able to pull out. I'm excited to see more things that you guys whip out in the future. You guys are looking incredibly well, incredibly good. Huge props to your team and your coaching staff as well. You guys, by the way, how is that coaching staff? Are you guys getting that coaching, or are you guys actually just playing scrims together and that's just it?
We got a pretty good team of coaches. Our head coach Navino was not here tonight, so shout out to Navino, doing your own thing. We got the W for you.
That is great to hear. You guys are gonna. I'm excited to see what you guys have this season. But thank you for coming out. That's you guys played amazing. Enjoy the W with your team.
Thank you.
Yep, you are completely free to go.
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, have a good night.
Yep, good night.
Oh man, but that was a very, I'd say, tough game going into the last two maps. OTW definitely have some things to work on, and I can't wait to see how they do further on. Is there anything Like, do you really want to say, Duga, before we give this over?
I mean, OTW, if they get those kinks worked out and they just get everything, if they fix everything that's wrong, they could actually come back and maybe put a fight to, if they ever face off against Wisdom, they could probably bring a fight to them. But Wisdom just looking unstoppable this season. And maybe if they keep it up and they just keep improving at the same pace everybody else will be, no one's going to beat them. It's going to be a role for Wisdom here. But yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone still watching, make sure to check out the other Novice games and the Expert games happening at 8 p.m. I do believe at least the other 2 Novice games are still happening. And make sure to check in for any other games happening this week. I'm Intel. This is Duga, and we thank you so much for watching.